Hi, everyone, and welcome back for episode 39 of the Simply One podcast. I'm your host, Colin. I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we have got the show for you.
Emphasis on the warm.
Yeah, it is excessively warm. There are no Lukes here. It's just Chris and Colin, so
That's right.
It's mostly warm. You've got a 1,000-yard stare kicking over there, kid. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Pokemon ad.
At a Pokemon ad? Mm-hmm. I just looked up and you're just... Bum, baby, dum.
Bum, bitty, bum, bitty, bum, bum.
So, this week we're taking a look at Marvel's second special presentation, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Now, last week I got ahead of myself a little bit, so that we were going to talk about Glass Onion. Turns out, it was releasing in less than 700 cinemas for a week, starting on the 23rd. Yeah, no, so they only released it in 700 theaters, and for like, 1 week only kind of thing. So, like, I think Wednesday might be its last day in theaters. And then it comes back out on Netflix on December 23rd, a month after the theatrical release. So,
Word.
So when that comes to pass, we'll definitely have to discuss it. I want to see that one. So before we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, we have to talk about James Wan and Jason Blum's new horror merger. Legendary Pictures has left Warner Brothers and found a new home.
Okay.
So Avatar: The Way of Water has its work cut out for it at the box office.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I'm excited to talk. I'm excited to hear more emails about that. The FTC is likely to step in on Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. And then James Gunn has said that the DCU, which is apparently what we're calling it now, we're dropping the E, it's just the DCU, will include video games.
Ooh.
And God of War Ragnarok has set some records for PlayStation.
Oh, fuck.
So if you're ready to talk about all that, we'll just jump into
We'll
it.
jump in.
You want to jump in?
Let's jump. How high?
So James Wan and Jason Blum, who helm production companies Atomic Monster and Blumhouse, respectively, are looking to join forces under the Universal NBC umbrella. I think it's NBC Universal.
Sure.
So that's obviously Universal Studios and their parent company and further on up the chain. Now, this merger is coming off the back of Wan, his Conjuring franchise, right? Earning $2 billion for Warner Brothers. And after the pair's contract ended, Warner Brothers never extended an offer to continue the partnership, which seems like a goofy move, where it's like,
How many Conjurings are there?
dude, if you count, like, you know, The Curse of La Llorona and The Nun 2 and Annabelle 2, Annabelle the Awakening, you know,
Yeah.
it's like there's like 16 movies under the umbrella of The Conjuring, right? Conjuring the Devil made me do it, you know what I mean? But yeah, $2 billion, and Warner Brothers was like, I just don't know if we got to keep working with this guy or not, you know. And he said, well, that's fine, fuck you, and went and found a partnership potentially with Jason Blum, who, you know, I mean, everybody knows Blumhouse at the front of a horror movie, you know.
In the corner, it's the light.
Yeah. And so after the pair's contract ended, like I said, Warner Brothers didn't reach out to him. So Wan is known for making terrifying movies, and Blum is known for his company's ability to just generate franchises. A quote from Blum actually shows like the hopes of the two. And it is that he says, we don't usually put out, talking about Blumhouse, we don't usually put out more than 3 or 4 theatricals a year. And my hope is that with James, we could double that to 6 to 8 theatricals a year.
Holy smokes.
And
I always like a good scary movie.
yeah, right. And there was actually, I didn't write it all in here. Some of the articles I was reading about this had some interesting, like, input, I guess, from filmmakers. They didn't quote most of the filmmakers by name, where they were just like a filmmaker who has worked with both, you know, people. Said something effective, basically like, if you're not looking to make a comic book movie, right now horror is the place to be.
Yeah.
You know, if a horror movie almost always does well at the box office because either A, it makes a shit ton of money, or B, it didn't cost much to make to begin with.
Right.
Which I think is typically Blumhouse's like bread and butter. They go for like a $5 million movie. And then that movie might make $50 million, but by golly, it just, you know, multiplied its budget by 10.
Right.
And so that's one way to take it. And then there's obviously more like James Wan, where he's making an $80 million horror movie, but it makes, you know, almost $1 billion at the box office. So, all of that to say that the new entity that will be formed when this merger is done will be a three-way split with Bloom owning the majority, and then Juan and NBC Universal's parent company Comcast owning the other portions of this, whatever this company ends up being called. And it will be housed at Universal. So they're going to have a first-look deal with Universal. So Warner Brothers lost James Wan, and now basically all of major horror is being made at Universal.
Yeah, Universal's made horror before, and I think they do an okay job at it. I think they do a good job at it.
Well, that's where Jason Blum's movies come out of, is Universal.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Yeah, so he basically went, come on, James, we'll take you over here.
Yeah. We've done work with you before. We'd love to do it again.
And apparently the end goal for the whole trio is that at the end, whatever this company is that they create will be basically appealing from the curb, and they'll be able to sell it for a profit. Their goal is to make a company, raise it into doing, decent enough that people are like, yeah, we want to buy that, and then they'll sell their money and, sell their company and wipe their hands, and they've made their money off of it. So kind of an interesting turn of events there for Warner Brothers. And while we're in that, region, Legendary Pictures, who has an on again, off again relationship with Warner Brothers. They left Warner Brothers in like 2014, I think. Went to Universal, left Universal in like 2017, and came back to Warner Brothers.
Well.
And then in 2021,
Holy smokes, they left again.
Warner Brothers kind of shit the bed and announced, much to the surprise of everybody that had made a movie for Warner Brothers, that all of their movies this year, or that, the year of 2021, were going to go straight to HBO Max at the same time. So remember, Christopher Nolan was pretty bitter about this. Denis Villeneuve, who made Dune, was pretty bitter about this.
Yeah.
There was quite a few filmmakers. So much so that Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer movie, I'm pretty sure, is not being distributed by Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers has chased off a lot of people, and that includes Legendary Pictures again. And Legendary Pictures has actually penned a new partnership with Sony Pictures. So Sony will take on... That's right. Sony is going to take on all home distribution, global marketing, and global distribution of any new films outside of China. China has apparently Legendary has basically a headquarters in China called like Legendary East, and they'll handle the Chinese market.
Yeah.
So Sony doesn't have a streaming service, so right now Legendary will still have to work with multiple streaming services just to kind of put the stuff out that way. But Warner Brothers is kind of running out of stock here.
Yeah,
they're on fumes right now, and I'm thinking they're really holding on for some DCs. I think that's why there's been such a shakeup at DC. Is they're like, all right, we're putting a lot of eggs in this basket, and we'll see how it goes.
Better make some killer fucking omelets.
Yeah, and one of the things that they did stress was that both the Dune franchise and the Godzilla MonsterVerse franchises will remain at Warner Brothers. Okay. Even though Legendary Pictures produced them.
Sure.
So, I mean, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was going to see the next Dune either way.
Yeah. I'd like to see the new Godzilla or whatever they decide to do. The last one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Their story is meh.
Yeah, they really gotta
work on it.
Yeah. They always
King Kong versus Godzilla wasn't that great.
No, they do the weird thing of let's include a human story, but then not
we don't care.
Then and so it's one of two things. Either make a better human story, because 9 times out of 10 the human story is pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You can keep it basic, but just don't lose me in trying to make something good. Right? Trying to make a good story and it's just boring. Yeah. You can keep it simple.
Think of Kong Skull Island.
Yeah,
the humans don't annoy me in that.
That's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
That's a really
they make it like
good movie.
A survival movie from their standpoint, and that was the way to do it. These other ones really, like the first Godzilla from 2014. First of all, they killed Bryan Cranston in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah,
boo. You got the guy, use him. Second of all, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, pretty bland, pretty nobody.
We didn't see
you only see Godzilla.
Whole,
yeah,
at the very end.
At the very end, and you only see Godzilla at all for like 16 minutes of runtime, and it's like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah,
it's like, boo, come on, why we're here.
And the second one was pretty good.
Yeah.
The fighting.
King of Monsters.
The fighting in it was. I want to see more of that.
Yeah. Millie Bobby Brown, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Nothing against her, but
It's just
again,
the story. Yeah, the story. I don't really care.
yeah. So
Keep it simple. Don't give me.
keep it breezy.
Yeah, I don't want to know about the fucking character. I want to know.
Yeah,
about
I don't even know
Godzilla.
about the girl's mom being dead and all that. And I'm like, I don't care.
Welcome back to Gas or Pass. Bass. Moving on.
That was
was
so
slick.
powerful that our headsets went, I can't hear that. Like, did you catch that?
Yeah,
Or like,
no, it just-
stop. And so then in an interview with, here's for you and for Chris Collins. In an interview with GQ, James Cameron said that Avatar: The Way of Water was, quote, very fucking expensive. And he's actually went as far as saying that the movie would have to be the, quote, third or fourth highest grossing film in history, end quote, to be profitable. And he even goes on to say, like, that's the break-even point. So I did a little combination editorializing here. So this comes after he told Total Film that this movie and the third would be the true decider of if the fourth and fifth even get made. And he has like this weird setup of basically like he says, the market could be telling us we're done in 3 months, or we might be semi-done, meaning, okay, let's complete the story within movie 3 and not go on endlessly if it's just not profitable. Which tells me that fourth and fifth movie aren't needed.
Yeah, if they're able to
If
cram
he's like,
cram
no,
it
all
into
right,
3, then just
we're not making money, let's do it in 3.
And that's the thing. That's what we always go back and forth about. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't need to be too long. It doesn't need to be too short. Like, just find a rhythm to just tell the story.
Right.
Which we go back to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
They're just a fantastic pace on it the entire time. What
believe
Breaking
it's-
Bad's, 6 seasons?
Technically 5, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fifth one was split into 2 parts.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't the longest, wasn't the shortest.
No.
Just a good pace.
Its finale was its most watched episode live.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way to end your show, right?
Yep.
Because I'll tell you, I watched the first episode of The Walking Dead. Didn't watch the last.
Nope. That just ended.
Yeah. So, all of this coming about at the same time that the inside like estimates for domestic weekend box office for Avatar is putting it between 150 and 200 million dollars. That's pretty big, you know. It has to beat Infinity War numbers to become like, so if you want to compare the two, right? So
I don't think
Infinity War's opening weekend was $252 million, and that puts it now at the 4th highest grossing film of all time. Right? Behind Titanic and Endgame and then Avatar.
I think a big thing that comes into it is both for Infinity War and Endgame, they came out at perfect times.
Right.
It was right before...
It was right in the middle of the summer.
Right. And so everyone was out seeing it while this is coming.
Yeah.
At the beginning of winter, nobody wants to go out and see movies. I don't know. I'll be giving it a watch.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we're going to go see it. Mm-hmm. But, and then I think what happens is it doesn't make its money up front. Mm-hmm. So then it's got to have what they call legs, where basically this thing makes money week over week. It's got to pull a Top Gun.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to have, I mean, it'll depend on how the movie is. Mm-hmm. And for me, looking at the trailers, visually, it's not as impressive comparatively today as like the first one was at its time, I don't think.
That's something to touch in because it relates to what you've been thinking about. I saw like a meme of the like Transformers, like the one made back in like I think like 08.
2007.
Yeah, it could have been. The CGI was just different back then.
Yeah.
Like, why was it so good? Same with this Avatar movie. Why was it so fucking good?
Yeah.
And then now today, they're still making the same shit.
Yeah,
or
it looks pretty.
It looks the same.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Especially for, and so like 3D.
Yeah.
I don't see this creating a reinvigoration of 3D movies. Right? Whereas like the first one did. The first one was like, shit, we got to make everything in 3D now.
Yeah.
You know? And 3D movie ticket prices are more expensive, which I think is a part
I think
of
3D movies are done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But so this won't have that boost, I don't think, of like, you got to see it in 3D. You know what I mean? Most people are going to be like, fuck you, I do.
I bet you people are going to see it in IMAX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I would see it in IMAX.
I'd see it on IMAX, yeah. I mean, if you're going for visual spectacle.
The seats rumbling.
Yeah. Because, like, you're not going for the story. It's Pocahontas, man.
Yeah, but this looks like there's a little bit of spin to it. There's something else going on.
It's Pocahontas 2 when she goes to Europe.
I haven't seen Pocahontas 2, so...
No, Pocahontas 2 goes to Europe would be if they took Zoe Saldana's character back to Earth. But I mean, it is. It's the colonizer goes and, you know, ends up falling in love with one of the natives and then fighting back against the colonizing. And it's like, all right, you know. So the story isn't like, oh my God, I've never heard this story before. So you did. You went for the visuals. So then if it's an unoriginal story and visuals that aren't,
I don't know, man. Maybe they'll come back with a second hook or a second wind, and the story will be really good.
We'll see.
Find out.
We'll see. So Politico has reported that the FTC is likely to file an antitrust lawsuit blocking Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. This comes from 4 individuals who are close to the situation, I believe, inside the FTC. They're trying to stress that the suit is not guaranteed, but seems likely at this point just from the context of the purchase itself. So basically, the FTC's job is to go, yes, this is fair, or no, it's not, right? From like a market standpoint. Well, the argument is, honestly, a huge part of this argument comes down to Call of Duty, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Where it's like...
They put all of them on the Game Pass.
Right. And you know, Sony is making a big case about the fact that Battlefield is not going to keep up with Call of Duty. It just won't. Call of Duty sales are always... And so then Microsoft went, all right, fine. As long as there's a PlayStation, Call of Duty will be on it. Right? Sony basically came back and said, yeah, but what if Activision makes something else, right? Or anything like that. Basically, you're taking games off the market for X amount of customers, right? And so it's been a big going back and forth. They've interviewed, or, you know, I say interviewed. They've had, like, I forget what the exact phrasing is, but basically when you go and stand before the FTC, depositions.
Yeah.
They've had depositions with, like, CEOs of Microsoft and of Activision Blizzard and all that, and heard all the cases. And so we're most likely, if there is going to be a suit, we'll see it sometime in December, they said. And if that's the case, Activision and Microsoft basically have to fight a legal battle to prove that they're not approaching, not monopoly, but somewhere in that, you know, it's not monopoly, but
it's monopoly.
Right. Because it's like, well, no, you can still get your games from here or here or here. But it's like, okay, after they buy Activision, you've got what, like EA, Ubisoft, and Take-Two Interactive that are not owned. That's not a lot.
That's not a lot.
You know? So yeah, that's kind of interesting to keep an eye on. Like,
just goes to show why PlayStation is in fact better, because they don't run monopolies. Right? Well, they don't do that shit.
Most of the games that they release
are good.
Well, yeah,
bingo.
But, you know, and they are made in house. They're first party, so it's like
I actually, as a matter of fact, a couple days ago while we were doing the talking about the Game Awards, I was looking into it because a buddy and I kind of not a heated, but I play PlayStation, he plays Xbox, and we're kind of going back and forth about it. Yeah. The last time Xbox had a Game of the Year exclusive award won was back in 2002 with Halo.
Halo. Yeah, I was going to say it had to have been
Halo. I was
Halo.
like, dude, yeah, like, tell me your guys' fucking games are better. Like, I want to hear that come out of your mouth, because you and I both know you're lying.
Right, yeah. They're not better.
Yeah. No, they're not.
Yeah, they're just not better.
And then he said something about, like, the graphics are better on the Xbox. I was like, they're the same.
They're pretty comparable
anymore. They're pretty.
That's a moot point at this.
Yeah,
this juncture.
Like, if you're pointing that out, it's so small, little that it's not even going to be noticeable.
It's not
either way.
Not noteworthy, at least.
But continue.
And you called him a name and hit him.
Yeah.
As you should. No. So, Activision Blizzard actually released a statement in response to this, idea that the FTC is going to sue them. And says...
Please don't.
Please don't. I need to be purchased. I would really enjoy $69 billion. So, no, they said any suggestion that the transaction could lead to anti-competitive effects is completely absurd. And they actually said this to IGN. This merger will benefit gamers and the U.S. gaming industry, especially as we face increasingly stiff competition from abroad. We are committed to continuing to work cooperatively with regulators around the globe to allow the transaction to proceed, but won't hesitate to fight to defend the transaction if required. So they're basically like, no, this is fair. I mean, yeah, if somebody's like, I'll give you $69 billion if you just fuck off and let me have all your stuff, I'd be like, yeah.
No problem.
No problem. I'll find more stuff.
Yeah.
Like, here it is.
$69 billion, I'll get more stuff.
Yeah. And then somebody steps in and is like, yeah, but that's not legal. I'll be like, shut the fuck up, man. You know, I'm going to give you $69 billion. Shut your mouth. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that Activision's like, please don't fuck this up for me.
But now they're about to have a lawsuit and maybe go bankrupt.
Well, I don't think they're going to go bankrupt.
Probably not.
But, I mean, it is a weird spot to find yourself in of like, and again, it's that whole thing.
And then
like,
you're going to have that reputation too.
Yeah. It's that whole thing of like, well, and that's the thing.
Taste that?
It's that dark spot
That
on
sour.
Microsoft of like, yeah, Microsoft tried to be anti-competitive and got sued by the FTC, you know? It's like, boo.
Woof.
Yeah. And, you know, that takes you back like 20 years ago when they had a bunch of antitrust issues and all that. And Google piled on and was like, yeah, and also Xbox Game Pass runs slower on Google Chrome, and we think it's on purpose. And that's illegal. You know? And that gets into a deeper issue of like the way you can punish companies.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Of like back in, I think it's the 90s, Microsoft got sued for something similar with, I think, Excel.
Okay.
You know, one of their Office suite, you know, programs
Right.
crashing Linux systems.
Whoa.
And so then it was like, oh man, that's not cool. You can't do that. And they got sued and were fined. And basically, like, I don't remember if they actually did end up getting the fine, but whatever the max fine was, Microsoft could have just operated without making any more money for like the next several decades. And, you know, just take that, you know, weekly fine as just a cost of doing business.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to look at how much we charge these companies fees for, like, you know, legal recompense, right?
Yeah.
If they can just, it's cost of doing business is legal fees, you know? And it's like, oh man. So we'll see, right?
We will.
James Gunn was asked on Twitter if the, you know, what it was called at the time, what the DCEU will incorporate more forms of entertainment down the line, to which he replied, yes, most definitely, before adding, the DCU will be connected across film and TV, and then he put in parentheses, and animation. And then another fan asked if there were any plans for games to be connected to the DCU, and he just simply replied, yes.
Yes.
Yes, there will be. So that's pretty interesting that, like, they're going to potentially include game characters in the movies, or vice versa, where like Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam might show up in a DC game, or a character that they introduced first in the games might then appear in the movies later on down the line. That's something that Marvel's not doing. You know, Marvel's keeping their games separate from the movies and TV.
I want so badly Mark Hamill to make an appearance in a movie as the Joker.
Why are you
Or
whispering?
his voice, at least.
Right? Yeah,
I
just
think
hear.
Mark Hamill plays, you know, obviously, like Heath Ledger plays a good Joker.
Right, but like,
Mark Hamill voices a really, really good Joker.
he is the Joker's voice as much as Kevin Conroy's is the Batman's.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also partly because they worked together, you know, they were each other's counterpoint. But yeah, no, I think that's a pretty interesting concept of like,
I like that a lot.
have a game where, can you imagine like a character showing up in a movie that like somebody that played the games was like, that's fucking so-and-so, you know? And even if they did it with like proprietary characters from the comics,
Sure.
it could be like the first time you see Blue Beetle is in this video game. And then he shows up in the movies and talks about, even if it's passing,
Right. Just
about
some of the
that
stuff
happened in that game.
where people who played it go, oh. Right, and
You know, it's a
people who
reference that you
haven't
catch.
go, okay, so
Oh,
here's
okay,
a
so
little
that's
bit of
something
backstory.
happened. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a pretty interesting, you know, reward for somebody who's into everything, you know.
Which I feel like if you're the majority of people who watch typically play,
Yeah.
some sort of like superhero games.
Yeah, I mean, I think about like us with Cal Kestis. Like, we so badly just wanted him to show up in Obi-Wan
Anything.
or anything. Let's
Anything.
show me Cameron Monaghan.
Yeah, I want to
As
see
Cal
him.
Kestis.
I want to see him.
Yeah,
Hands down.
I know he's back there.
Pants
Bring
down.
him out.
Did you hear what I
Did you say
said?
pants down?
I said hands down. Pants down.
Hands down, pants down. You know what I'm saying? No, me.
It's the way of life.
Yeah, it's the only way.
Storm provides.
It's the only way I ride. You know, hands down, pants down. God of War Ragnarok has become Sony's fastest-selling first-party title, with 5.1 million copies sold in its first week of release.
Yep. That's game of the year right there.
Boom.
That's game of the year.
Maybe. It's got stiff competition with Elden Ring. It's another case. God of War 2018 was up against it with Red Dead. This is up against Elden Ring. I think it's anybody's. It's not anybody's. It's one of those two.
God, I hope.
One of those two will be game of the year, and neither one will be surprising or unearned.
I hope to God that God of War wins again, because that same person I'm having the argument with says that Elden Ring's gonna win, and I can't wait just to turn around and slap him with that and be like, "Hey, boss,
Hey, boss man.
there you go, check that game of the year, 2022."
Hey, chief.
Yeah, it's fucking God of War Ragnarok.
Hey, chief. Guess what?
Lick,
Lick my nuts.
suck him.
Yeah. Hey, you want to hear a joke? And you just tell him Elden Ring won won game of the year. No, it didn't. God of War did. He's like, oh,
Suck it, pussy.
yeah.
Made you look pussy fart.
Made you look pussy. Yeah. So that was literally all I had to say about that. I just was like, I gotta mention that.
Yeah.
But so that's all I had as far as news.
You said 5 million copies
5.1. Yeah.
in the first week.
Yeah. And God of War 2018 has sold like 23 million copies, including its PC release. So you're already at almost a quarter of the sales of its predecessor.
Jesus.
And with the word of mouth it's getting.
Yeah, dude. There's so many spoilers I've seen.
Have you?
No, I've only seen the 2, but like I will constantly see thumbnails for them, and I'll quickly. I kid you not. I close
Yeah, but the one
my
wasn't really a
eyes.
spoiler.
No, but I've
You
seen
saw
ones on like
Odin's Raven. It's like, well,
yeah, well, kind of. It says it threw an axe at it, and then it went on to say something else, and I scrolled past it before I could read it. But I'm always seeing like thumbnails of like God of War, and I don't even
yeah.
Chance it. I go right past it. I've basically been off social media for.
Well, you got to just play the game.
Do I need to finish it?
Yeah.
But it's a fun game.
Yeah. I'm ready to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Let's
We're
hop
coming fresh off it.
Yeah.
Like, we literally just watched it.
Fresh off the pot.
Fresh off.
Just wiped. It's fresh.
Yeah. It's still warm. It's still warm.
You just pinched that log off.
Yeah. If you did it outside, it'd be steaming. You know? Gross. So I didn't break this up into spoilers and non-spoilers because I just wrote, it was basically a stream of consciousness while you were taking a shit. And I was like, I'll just write down all my thoughts. And my thoughts basically just turned into, here's what happened in chronological order.
Yeah, I feel like it's a pretty easy movie to follow
it
in
wasn't
chronological
yeah,
order.
Yeah, it wasn't complex. So our best attempt at non-spoiler, the premise is it's about Earth. It's about Christmas time on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The Guardians are living in nowhere,
Yes.
and they've noticed that Quill is down because of Gamora.
Down
And
in
are
the dumps.
Yeah, he's down on his luck. He's in the dumps, and they're like, let's get him a Christmas present. And then they go to Earth. I think it's in the trailers. They want to get him Kevin Bacon.
It just shows in the trailers them busting through
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's doors
So they want to go to Earth to get Kevin Bacon to have
to cheer up Quill.
to have Quill's Christmas, right? And then hijinks. You don't see a lot of Quill.
No.
Really, it's mostly a Drax and Mantis movie,
Yeah. Which is fine.
Which is fine. Yeah, I don't think you see. Well, you see everybody, but I don't even know. Groot has a couple lines. Well, obviously it's always I am Groot, but I think he has like a speaking section, and that's about it. We meet some new characters. Really, one. Cosmo. But really,
I wasn't even thinking about Cosmo because we've seen Cosmo,
but not.
but not as much. Not
We
as
saw
not to
her
the
as
extent.
we saw her as like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Now she's actually a character.
Which looks like she's with them,
Oh yeah,
like working with them.
yeah. In the comics, I know that she does, and so I'm excited that. Like, is the collector dead? Well, no, because they said they bought.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. Yeah.
We'll talk.
All right. So, without, I mean, that's what I've got spoilers. So, well, we got to rate it. So, how do we rate these things?
Of course, you can always be overwhelmed, which means you were thoroughly enjoyed with the film. You can be underwhelmed, which means you really didn't meet your expectations. You didn't like it, or you can always be in the middle and be simply whelmed.
Yeah. So,
I thought it was whelming.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
No.
But it just it wasn't like we didn't need it, but it was nice to have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Again, I don't think it's a bad thing.
I'm not mad that I watched it.
Right.
You know.
I don't think this is a bad whelming, but it's just kind of like a
Yeah. All right.
cool.
Yeah. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to see Cosmo, right? And then just to see a little more from Marvel was nice.
Yeah.
And then they threw in tidbits, which we're about to dive into, maybe where it's starting to go, at least on their side.
Yeah.
So that was nice, too, just to have a little bit of that information.
Yeah. Now, I kind of had a weird expectation set this morning that I shouldn't have.
But
I saw on Twitter somebody say something of like, my excitement for Ant-Man Quantumania just went from like 6,000 to 6 million or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck is in this holiday special that they're like, you Kang? You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, that's...
Plot twist, Kevin Bacon's...
Is Kang the Conqueror. He's one of the variants of Kang.
Of Kang the Conqueror.
Jonathan Majors just warps in and kills him. You're like, holy fuck. They just killed Kevin Bacon. Like, in lore, Kevin Bacon's dead in the MCU. But, no, he is not dead. Kevin Bacon is very much alive.
I repeat.
Yeah. I cannot stress this enough. Kevin Bacon is alive.
Is alive.
There are no deaths in this movie. Is that right? No, not even any of the cops. Though that did take a turn, didn't it?
I did.
Yeah.
Not even the cops.
So, chronological order here. We'll just kind of run down. It's like we talked about, pretty heavy focus on Mantis and Drax. My writing auto-corrected it to draw. Draw. Mantis and draw. We get to see and hear Cosmo, which is pretty funny. Because she is Russian. They just made her have a Russian accent.
Thick.
Yeah. So she's like, Rocket. Rocket, this is not. And you're like, what is... She is a Russian dog.
Yeah, I do not want to work when you talk to me like that.
And she's
like, all right,
she's
man.
got telekinesis like she does, which is cool. Kraglin is just telling a story. There's kind of a neat little like animated thing at the beginning.
Made me think of 8 Crazy Nights.
A little bit. And he's just telling a story at the very beginning of like how Yondu ruined Christmas for Quill. And so...
Allegedly.
Yeah. And then Mantis is like, man, that makes me sad, and everybody's like dogging on the story and shit. And she's like, we got to do something for him. Look at him. And he's like very down on his luck, He
literally makes me think of Dale from Step Brothers when he's, he goes to wipe his ass and he's out of toilet paper.
That is floor mat.
That is just what I think Peter Quill's at right now.
I was picturing the Narcos meme.
Pablo Escobar just standing in the pool. He's sitting on the bench.
Yeah, that was kind of where he's at. But they found some human instruments and they just play a full musical number at the beginning,
which was
a pretty good song.
It was good. It was funny,
and it was basically these aliens' interpretation of
what Christmas
traditions. And it's like something about like, Santa. He's great at breaking and entering. He's an expert locksmith. If you don't leave him milk and cookies, he'll take a dump in your sock. Instead of a lump of coal, they think it's a euphemism for just dung.
Just fucking shitting.
Just Santa will shit in your sock if you don't leave him milk and cookies.
You fucking better.
You'd better, yeah. But no, it was a funny little bit, and he's no, what? That's not Christmas. What are you talking? That's not. You're talking about him having a flamethrower.
All I could think of whenever I saw Peter Quill was just, it's a me, Mario. That's not the voice.
Yes,
it was the voice.
Yeah,
it's a me, a Mario.
He's like, that's not the voice. Yes, it was.
I'll have to show you a meme where it's like, it's from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. and it's Peter Quill, but he's got like his get up looks like it's Mario, and it's when Ego just says that he put the tumor in his mom. It's what? It's just Jack Black dancing with Bowser music in the background.
Drax comes up with just a brilliant idea to just go get Kevin Bacon for Quill for Christmas. And Mantis is like, you son of a bitch, Jesus. I'm in, And we do get the confirmation that her and Quill are siblings.
Yes.
But nobody knows that but Drax.
Correct.
Where Mantis is like, I don't want him to look at me and think of Ego every time
right.
he looks at me, and which is understandable. Ego was a monster.
Which I thought was a slick way to slide that in, for something that wasn't brought up.
So apparently it was a deleted scene in maybe Guardians 2 that was gonna be addressed, that she was,
because she said she needs to
Ego's
talk
children.
to Drax about some. No, that was on the planet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Either way, yeah. I mean, so there was something that they'd maybe toyed with, and then they threw to the side. And never mind, we won't include that.
Right.
And so I do think it's an interesting wrinkle to add later after they've had a relationship of they're actually technically half siblings through a weird.
What are you doing, step bro?
Yeah. No, they're half siblings.
What are you doing?
What are you doing, half bro?
Bro.
That sounds weirder somehow.
That sounds not.
Well, it's because it's actually gross and ancestral in that case.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
There's no technically, technically we're not.
No research based off a technicality.
Yeah. He's not really your brother.
Wow.
Well,
came from the same loins.
Yeah. The same seed. So, gross. Drax and Mantis head to Hollywood. They're going to find them some Kevin Bacon.
That's right.
And they end up just taking a little bit of a detour and just busking on Hollywood Boulevard for what seems like a couple hours. And Drax is just the same expression the whole time in every photo. Mantis is having a good old time with
Flashing.
Just stacks
Yeah,
of cash.
they just keep giving her fives and ones.
She's just
and she's fanning it around in the pictures and everything.
There's a transformer in the background. Well, off-brand transformer that for some reason Drax wants him dead. He's like, you son of a bitch, And it's like, I'll rip your head off. And she's like, no, it's fine. Yeah. And she says something like a robot killed his cousin.
Yes.
Something like that. So he's just got something against robots now.
But then there's just the scene where Mantis is taking pictures, and in the background, Drax is just
beating the shit out of this guy.
Out of this guy.
Just holding him up by the costume and just hitting him with the cross repeatedly while he's on the ground. Just poof,
his body's motionless, bro.
Yeah,
he's out.
He's done. Get off him. Let him breathe.
Give him some space.
But yeah, so after they busk and make some money, they head to a bar and get wasted.
Dude,
just get blitzed.
Trashed.
Where a guy comes up and is kind of hitting on Drax, wants him to come out and dance with him. He's like, dancing is for pansies. He's like, I'm not doing that. It's for people who are pathetic.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, how about a drink? And he's like, yes.
Yeah, I'll do
and
that.
then it's just nothing but Mantis breaking a move down on the dance floor with sunglasses on and all that, and just shots on tops of shots. Yeah. And they finally end up out on the curb and are like, what the fuck? And can you believe none of those people knew Kevin Bacon?
And then a tour guide.
Yeah, one of the fucking Tour of the Stars women who's wearing a hoodie and a fucking
a visor.
Yeah, well, and I was thinking, what's those? Not a bum bag, but a
fanny pack.
Yeah. She's just like, you want to find out where Kevin Bacon lives? She hands her one of the map of the stars, She's like, oh my God, yeah, So that'll be $40. And Mantis like, I blew all my money. Yeah. She's like, ooh, about that. And the woman's like, well, takes it from her and she grabs her hand real quick and was like, you'll give this to me for free. And the woman's like, here you go. Hands it to her and she goes and she's like,
you'll give me all your money.
You'll give me all of your money. And the woman just reaches for her fucking fanny pack. And we were like, oh my God, she just robbed that lady. They're menaces.
They are evil.
They're monsters. They come to Hollywood just, I guess they didn't steal from all the people. Yeah, they hustled everybody on the street. Because, they're not in costume. They're just aliens. Yeah. And people are like, I'll pay you to take a picture with you. That's a good costume. And they're like, all right, And then they just straight up rob this woman. And who knows how many drinks they got for free in the bar.
Oh, you know they got so many drinks for free.
But either way, they end up at Kevin Bacon's house. Kevin's just having a nice, like, sounds like his wife is, on
her way home.
On her way home from somewhere, and he's just sitting down to make himself a little dinner and watch
It
a
looks
Christmas
like he got
movie.
back from a store of some sorts picking up Christmas presents.
And then just his Ring doorbell. He's like, and he opens up on his tablet, and it's just fucking two aliens.
It's Mantis's eyes just
in
the
looking
camera.
for the legendary Kevin Bacon, And he's like, guys, like, I'm sorry, I can't, can't help you guys,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, basically, And then they just bing, ding, 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 ding.
Drax throws Mantis over the gate.
Yeah, she's like, do you think you could throw me over the gate? He's like, and just yeets her over the fucking wall. She's like, what the hell? Hurts her, She's like, God damn. He's like, you asked if I could throw you.
I did.
I did. She's like, yeah, no, I didn't mean that. He's like, all right. Throw you, don't throw you.
What do you
up your
want?
mind.
Yeah, what do you want?
What do you want from me? She's like, Jesus. And then he just hops the fence.
Yeah, no problem. Look, he split.
And, which I thought was kind of a fun little detail of, like, because they're from another planet, gravity is just different.
A little different for him,
So they're probably stronger than Earth gravity.
So, dude, imagine the Transformer getting the
shit beat out of him.
Beat out of him.
By an alien with relative super strength. he's down. So they go straight up to his front door, start ding, 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 ding on his doorbell. And he's like, what's going on, guys? And he comes over and fucking pulls up the the monitor there, and it's them again. And he's like, all right, guys, like, this is super inappropriate. This is private property. I'm calling the cops.
Like,
guys.
just leave.
Go ahead and leave. And please put back my decorations.
There's that
Drax. There's an elf, and he's like, oh, I need this funny little man. And then she finds a candy cane, and she's just like,
who is very convinced that it is a man.
She's not. Drax is. Drax is like, you've got your thin, weird-looking man.
I have my
How
elf
does this
man.
look like a man? But so Drax just busts through the fucking, like, frosted glass beside his front door, and he takes off running, knocking over the
the tree,
and he's still on the phone with 911. He's like, there's two of them in here. They're aliens. I don't know what they are, but you got to get them. And Mantis is like a horror movie creature, springing from wall to wall like a tree frog, and shrieking while she's doing it.
Shrieking of excitement.
Yeah, she's just
and
happy
you look
and
over
excited.
at Kevin Bacon, and he is just screaming in panic as she is hopping from wall to wall, smiling, just
On
fucking
all fours.
ear to ear.
Yeah, big eyes, her fucking antennae, It's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. So he leaps from his balcony and slides through the hedge, which, cuts him up. He's like, oh God. Waffles the landing and then gets up and gets to shuffling. He's kind of looking behind him like, are they still following me? And they just leap over the edge and land on their feet. He's like, oh. He gets running down onto the street. They're springing beside him because, they're just jumping fences.
And then he makes it to the police.
He makes it to the cops. It's like, oh, thank God, The cops are kind of like, all right, stand down, people. Like, hands above your head, stop where you are. And they both just keep walking. And so then they just start lighting Drax up, just pop, 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 pop,
And
pop.
he is
It tickles him. He's laughing.
He is not fazed by
He's
bullets.
cackling. He goes, please stop. You're going to make me pee. Yeah. And he's laughing as they just unload magazines into him. And then Mantis just comes up. You thought chops the police officer's arms off, but just knocks the gun.
Yeah, dude,
out
the
of
way
their
it
hands.
was, it's just like knocked by the fucking forearms, knocked your arms off.
Yeah, just like toys. But
Like mannequin arms.
Yeah. But so Mantis she actually beats the shit out of the cops. Like, she does a lot of acrobatics and,
I think that's probably the most
action we've seen her do. Yeah.
Well, I'd say to anybody in that.
Oh, in the special?
In the special.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the action scene. Yeah. It's not an act. It's a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, she's putting all the cops to sleep and then looks at Kevin Bacon and is like... grabs him real quick and he bolts.
Mm-hmm.
He runs for it.
He crawls under a fence and gets up and they're just there.
They're just there, like, yeah. And he's like, fuck. And she just touches his face and is like, you would love to come with us,
And he's like, all right, where are we going?
Yeah, where are we going, guys? And they first there, and it's just a decoration store.
Palace.
Yeah. And they just hard cut to them in the ship leaving, and it is just full of Christmas decorations where they've just robbed that place
the whole
down to the fucking hardwood
it.
floor. Like
Yeah,
they pulled up the carpet.
Gutted that bitch.
There's nothing in that building. And we're lucky they didn't take the sign off the front.
So you know, man just opened up the register and was like, "Oh, more money. That's for me."
Yoink. Yeah. So again, this just adds to the fact that we're like they're menaces. They just came to Hollywood and robbed the place. They literally abducted a star. Like, and so they get him back, and as they get to talking to him in the ship, they realize that like Kevin Bacon isn't a hero; he's an actor.
He's an actor, and they're disgusted with him.
The stories that Quill remembers is like Kevin Bacon in Footloose, right? But they thought Footloose was just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Like he saved a town by dancing. And he's like, oh, that wasn't me. That was my character. Such and they're like, ugh, he's an actor. And Mantis literally goes, ugh, like he's gagging.
Retching.
Drax looks at him and is like,
I hate you.
I hate you. And they keep talking about how fucking repugnant actors are and all that. And he
just takes it.
You're disgusting. They're just dogging on Kevin Bacon for being an actor. not even good or bad actor.
And he's
like, acting's a really noble profession, and and they're like,
and Mantis is just gagging.
And so she's like, all right, fine. She reaches over and touches his hand and is like, you're just gonna pretend to be a hero.
Yeah, pretend to be cool.
Quill cannot find out that you're an actor, and so then he just starts pretending to be a British private.
Yeah,
during World War II.
World War II.
So they're like, no, just fucking be you, but don't suck. You know, and he
don't fucking suck.
Be you, but don't suck. And he's like, all right, well, I'm pretty okay with that. Normally that would have hurt my feelings, but
for whatever reason,
I'm just really happy right now. So they get him back, set up Christmas Town for him. Play some nice Christmas music. Quill comes out, and they keep clicking on the lights methodically as he walks in. And it's actually really sweet. Mantis is all done up in her Christmas sweater and everything, and she's pointing at everybody to, places everybody,
Drax has a sweater on that has Santa with lasers coming out of his eyes.
Yeah. And so it is actually like a really sweet moment of like him looking up, and they've got the fake snow and everything, and it's like, what? And he acts like a kid. He puts his hands on his head. Like, what the hell, man? And they're all like, sweet and loving on him and all that. And Mantis comes out and gives him a hug and tells him Merry Christmas. And it's from all of us. And, all of Nowhere has shown up to celebrate Christmas for Quill.
Oh, which is something we need to talk up.
Oh, yeah. They bought Nowhere.
Yeah, they bought it. So they just own Nowhere.
Yeah, which is the decapitated head of a Celestial. That is a space station that everybody lives in now. It's a big city. And they just bought Nowhere. So they must have either got it on a deal or just have too much money.
Well, that, and also, I bet you that the...
Because they say they bought it from the Collector.
Yeah, and I assume that if they defeated Thanos, right, Thanos came in and just crushed him real quick. I bet he was probably like, well, I was,
yeah, take it.
Yeah, it's a gesture of my gratitude. Please take Nowhere. But on the side, he's like, he didn't want it. He won't want it off his hands. I could see that coming into play.
Yeah. But so they bought Nowhere. So they just own the town, or the space station.
Which I thought was cool.
Which is kind of neat. Yeah, and it's, in the comics, Nowhere is their base of operations. So it makes sense that, okay, that's just where they reside now.
Yeah.
And that's how they get Cosmo. But they... Drum roll, please, and a fucking spotlight is put on as they wheel out. Groot wheels out a box
Kevin Bacon.
that's oddly coffin-shaped, And Quill's kind of like, what did you guys do? You didn't have to.
And then he sees it shake a little.
It starts, and he's kind of got like a, what the hell? I just kind of rocking side to side. Then he just hears a man's voice inside. All right, guys, I'm going to pass out soon.
Yeah, there's no air in here.
Yeah, there's no air in here. And he's like, what the hell? And he gets there and he starts opening it, and he opens it up, and it's just Kevin Bacon,
Coming out to give him a hug.
And he must be Pete, and goes to give him a hug, and Peter's like, dude. And he's looking at them, he's like, you guys stole a human?
Like, human trafficking.
He's like, this isn't a Christmas gift, it's human trafficking. And Drax is like, yes.
Yes.
Yes, fuck yes. We did it. And he's like, no. and he's like, I'm just really happy to be here. And that's when he realizes that, like, he's under Mantis's spell. And he looks at Mantis and he's like, did you use your powers on him?
I forgot.
I don't remember. I might have. I don't remember, So he's like, all right, well, give him back, basically. She takes her charm off of him and he starts kind of freaking out a little bit. And Quill's like, dude, I understand. It's all right, but I'm going to take my hands off you. Don't run. And he's gone. And, and while he's having a full meltdown, fucking Nebula just points her blaster at his head. And he's like, oh, hey! Yeah, she's going to just cap him. And Quill's like, Jesus. And so, yeah, he's like, all right, go get Kevin Bacon. And Nebula draws her gun again. It's like, he's mine. And you hear her as she's running, you can't run from me, Bacon. I'm like, Jesus.
You cannot run from me, Bacon.
And so, yeah, Kraglin's going to take him home and is like really apologetic and telling him like they don't mean any harm. They just, Quill really loves you. He doesn't remember a whole lot from his childhood,
but he remembers you.
And, he talked about all your stories, including the one where you danced and saved a town. And you know what? Quill actually danced and saved the galaxy. He learned how to be a hero from you. And, he's actually one of the best damn heroes we got. And Bacon's kind of like, damn, shit. And he just inexplicably has cell phone service. And they're like, oh, well. And I like that you were like, how's he got cell phone service?
Like, how the fuck?
And then Kevin Bacon's even like, how do I have cell phone service? And Kraglin's like, oh, we got a couple antennas on the front of the ship. I'll get you at least anywhere between here and 6 million light year. And you're like, oh, all right, well.
Wrapped it up pretty quick.
Touche,
Thanks to the tango.
Yeah, wow. You win this one, James Gunn. And so he basically tells his wife, which I want to look up. I meant to pay attention. I wonder if it's actually Kira Sedgwick's voice. Because he's married to the actress Kira Sedgwick. And so I wonder if they got her to do the voice or if it's just
I can't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got her number. You know what I mean? But then again, do you pay Kira Sedgwick just for her to be the voice on the other end of a phone?
I'm sure if they just said, like, hey, if you got your wife in, we'll throw in an extra couple $1,000.
Yeah, here's another $200,000, I'm going to look that up real quick. Is Kira Sedgwick related to Julia Roberts? No, that's not what I was looking for. But is she? The holiday special. Yeah, it is her. I thought it might be, but then I was like, I don't know. I could see them
paying
an extra, But, so he tells his wife, he's like,
I'm going to be a little late.
Maybe I'm going to be a little late. He says, like, he has the cheesy holiday movie line where he's like, I got a few friends here who need a little reminder of what Christmas is, And then he busts out his guitar and he actually gets to sing a nice Christmas song
with the openers in the beginning.
Yeah, with the band from the beginning. And it's a really nice song and everybody's having a good time and loving each other, giving hugs and all that. And like Quill gives Groot a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Nebula gives Rocket Bucky's arm. And it's the black one. It's the vibranium one.
It's the modern new one.
So she bested Bucky and took his arm from him by force, I assume, and just brought it to Rocket.
I'm curious on how that's going to play in the future. Like, is Bucky going to have a new arm, or are we just going to have a scene where he just doesn't have a fucking arm?
What the French toast,
That would have been a good after credits scene of just Bucky being like, "Where the fuck
is my arm?" Yeah. But and Cosmo brings Kraglin a dead rat, basically.
Yeah, it's the same species of rat that Groot kills in the beginning of Guardians of 2.
Yeah,
that he's chasing during Mr. Blue Sky.
Yeah, and all of that to say that then it kind of culminates in Mantis and Quill talking and. He's like, you didn't have to do all this. Why'd you do all this? And she's kind of, oh, well, you just really needed, you seemed down and you really needed the help or whatever, And he's like, yeah. She's like, and he's like, well, what is it? And she's like, well, your dad. And he's like, ego? What about him? She's like, he might be, no, he is definitely.
He's my dad.
He's my dad too. He's like, what? So that makes you my sister? And she's like, yeah, I think so, And he's like, that's the best thing I could ask for Christmas. And I was like, oh.
Does that mean that Mantis is part God, too?
That might be where her powers come from. And so, they share a nice big Christmas hug. And it's like, oh, there is that nice implication of like, well, yeah, because now you're not alone. You got family with you all the time,
Yeah.
And So then, Kevin Bacon's basically like, I love you guys. I'm out of here, you know.
Oh my God, I'll see you at Easter.
Throws up the deuces. Oh, I love the little bit when Kevin Bacon is having his meltdown when they first let him out of the box and untrance him. And Groot is basically like, I am Groot, and he's like, "Oh, what you knew it was
now
a bad,
you think
now
it's
you
a
think
bad idea? I saw you wheel him out here.
Yeah, and his eyes get real big, and he's got a mouth open, and he's looking
It's
around
literally
like
the look that we give to each other when
we call each other out on something that we know is factual. What?
What? No way, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and Groot's looking around like, come on.
Oh,
How are you gonna say that? How you gonna say that to me? But yeah, so he does. He heads off and. Roll credits. Nice Christmas special. Oh, you get the little revelation that Yondu did not ruin Christmas all those years ago.
No. And as a matter of fact, the things that we see in the first, like his little desk
His
toys
little desk toy
on his ship,
because
with
Quill bought him one. Well, got him one for Christmas.
And then that's how Quill got his blasters.
Yes, Yondu gave him those for Christmas and said, "Oh, that was a sweet little thing." Yeah. So they didn't tarnish Yondu's.
Yondu was R.I.P.
Yeah.
Dude, Yondu was a real one.
Yeah.
He may not have been your father.
Or yeah, he might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, boy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's truth.
But I liked it. Like you said, whelming.
Not
take
in
it
a
or leave
bad way.
it.
Yeah.
Nothing. There was nothing negative about it, but
Yeah, I wasn't like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't watch it, I don't think you're going to miss out on anything.
But
Other
I'd
than
give it a
maybe
watch.
I don't know how heavily the sister thing's going to come into play.
They might throw something in there, I could see, but
And Cosmo, I like. I'm excited that we got Cosmo, and I do believe that from what we heard, Rocket's going to be a big focus of Guardians 3.
which I want. I love Rocket. Rocket is, in fact, my favorite Guardian.
Mm-hmm. And so I do think that we'll probably get to see a bit of his origin.
I like more of comic book Rocket. Nothing against the MCU, but I think comic book Rocket, he has like that beard and it's like in that Viking,
it's got the
braids, and he looks like a captain.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I'm glad I watched it. But
I like the special presentation format.
Yes.
Where honestly, if they cut back on some of the miniseries and made more of these, that'd be, I think, a fair exchange.
Yeah.
Of like, especially if come to find out Disney Plus is a big cost sink for Disney. Maybe a cost cutting operation is we don't need to spend $100 million on a 6-part series. We're going to give you a 45-minute, 90-minute, depending on, because if you cut the budget back, maybe you do get to make a TV movie, basically. Mm-hmm. But it'd be a lower budget movie.
Sure.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
And, and it's a nice little, kind of saves you from some of the fatigue of like, fuck, I got to watch that, and then I got to watch that, and then I got to watch that. I still got to catch up on Andor. Because of that same, of like, got to watch that again now. But I've heard it's excellent, so... I mean, from what I'd seen already, it was really good, so I'm not...
I heard Andor, non-spoiler, was really good, the finale, and it leaves you on a... Because it has already been greenlit for a second season.
Oh, yeah.
So it leaves you on a humongous cliffhanger.
Oh, word.
From what, a buddy from work told me. He said he was mad.
Oh.
And I was like, oh. He's a big nerd like me, so I was like...
Shit. Well... That's all I got about the holiday special. So, Chris, you got a cryptid over there?
Welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, Chris. This week, thank you, yes. This week, we will be talking about the Rat Man of Southend. Here, I stepped up my game a little bit.
Yeah, are you going to start with this or end with this?
I'm going to start with this.
So this is what the Rat Man sounds like?
So this is what the Rat Man sounds like.
I haven't heard this before, people.
No, I made
He
sure.
told me about it, and then he was like, you want to hear it? I was like, no. I want to hear it live. Give me the willies. Is it going to give me the willies? Jesus.
Ooh. And then here, I'll show it to you as well.
Kind of looks like a xenomorph.
It says most commonly...
Looks like Splinter.
The most commonly told story of the Rat Man involves an old man who used to use the underpass to escape from the rain and the cold nights. The story goes that he was old and was barely able to walk, and one night, a group of teenagers beat him half to death and stole his blanket, his clothes, and his coat, the only real resources of warmth that he had. Dying from his injuries in the biting cold of the night, he succumbed to hypothermia. His stiffening corpse nibbled and gnawed by the numerous vermin who inhabited the area. Soon after, locals reported odd noises, namely high-pitched squealing and the sounds of the nails dragging along the walls. Whether evidence of real ghost or an overactive imagination, the fact remains that this story and subsequent noises led to locals dubbing the creature the Rat Man of the South End. And then there is another theory
Okay.
of what the Rat Man is. It kind of goes back to Barbarian.
Oh, okay.
Which makes me think, did they get inspiration
Maybe
from this?
Yeah.
The mutant child.
Is there a trigger warning for this in relation to Barbarian?
I will say there's a trigger warning, but it does not go into depth.
Okay. We're talking about some essay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the mutant child. This story runs that the mayor of a town is in fact guilty of adultery and was eventually cursed with the infidelity in the form of a grotesque child, a baby with an elongated snout and a worm-like tail of a rat. The child grew and developed a taste for flesh. Seeking a solution to his problem, the mayor had the underpass constructed and concealed with a concealed entrance to a chamber within which his monstrous offspring might hide, only to emerge at night to indulge in its hunger.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that one kind of like relates back to Barbarian of
Mama.
that. Oof. Checking fucking behind my shoulder and shit.
Yeah.
Dude, the ticket, that one. Woo.
Yeah.
I gotta up that.
Yeah.
If you have
You gotta
any,
top the ticket. The ticket creeped us out.
but
Let me
real quick.
Yeah,
just
you finish up, and then I gotta hit you with a little accident, not on purpose, but a little plug to Morgan's podcast.
Oh shit! But yeah, that was the Rat Man of South End. I know it takes place in England, South End, England.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if you had any other good cryptids, really, I've been kind of searching for really scary cryptids.
Yeah.
So if you have like any audio clips, links, anything like that, you can definitely send us an email at simplywellmailbag@gmail.com.
Yeah, maybe put in the subject bar like for cryptid corner or something to that effect.
Yeah, just. But I'm really trying to find another really scary one.
Yeah. So, on a couple of creeps this past weekend, Morgan talked to her mother actually about the Prospect home, I think is what it's called. There's a snake in my food. But no, I probably butchered that. I think it's Prospect Point, Prospect Place, Prospect Home. I forget. But the part that stood out to me is, full disclosure, the home that we live and record in used to belong to her parents, who now do not live there. Right. Well, her mother revealed to Morgan in that episode that the man who lived here before her and Morgan's dad bought the place died here.
Died right in the room that we're sitting in.
Yeah, did you listen to this? Yeah, right. Died in a hospital bed in the room that we record in, where we're sitting.
Yep.
Guy might have died right between us here. Yeah, that gave you the heebies.
And the thing is we have this ongoing joke because the drawer in the kitchen always opens with the silverware in it, and we always kind of make the joke of Casper. But we all thought it was just because it might
the
be
way the house leans.
Yeah, it might be
it's an old
uneven.
house.
And but now knowing that, maybe Castor's a real thing.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm friendly towards him, so
Yeah. I mean, it's not
no negative energy here. Maybe he was cool.
You almost yanked the fucking...
You see me turn around and just punch a hole in the wall. I'm like,
I got eyes in the back of my head, Casper.
he's just like, he's in the wall. He's in the goddamn walls.
Oh. There you go.
But, yeah, but Colin, what you been thinking about?
Well, that, and also, I'm getting pumped and ready for the Long Darks DLC, which we haven't actually talked about on the podcast, have we?
I don't think we have. No, we haven't.
So, Long Dark's getting its first... I think maybe we've addressed that they had talked about making their first expansion, but it's coming out like December 5th, which is like
soon.
Next Wednesday?
A week from 2 days.
It's next Monday, I think.
So that'd be a week from today. Today's the 28th. You said on the 2nd?
The 5th.
The 5th. So
Yeah,
no.
the 5th is... Yeah, the 5th is next Monday. So next Monday, its first expansion drops. And it's apparently going to be like a 12-month road of like constant stuff coming out, which is cool.
Yeah.
They're going to drip feed it to you.
But they said that they have like...
There's a bunch of stuff up front.
Yeah, but they also said like they already know where they want to end it.
Yeah.
It's not something, or at least story-wise.
Right.
Right, because they said they wanted to make a 12-part thing. Or like 8-part thing, I thought.
No.
No? I'm just fucking dumb.
So they're going to... So there's the episodic thing, the Winter Mute, which is the story.
Yeah.
To
I thought
The
I
Long
heard
Dark.
something that
they're releasing the 5th episode, but not on the 5th. They're still working on the 5th and final part to that.
Oh, okay.
But what they ended up doing was actually separating story mode and survival mode into 2 games,
Which I like.
so that you can purchase just the Winter Mute or just the survival mode, or you can buy a version that is both.
Like what we got.
Yeah. But looks like they're going to add a bunch of stuff, including cougars, which
Hot MILFs in the area, son.
scares me, you know? Not the older
Mommy?
women. Yeah, mommy. Uppies. I want uppies. Uppies, you know?
Why don't you just spit in my drink and just stomp on my balls?
Whoa. I don't know why that came out of your mouth.
Put on the 6 inches, baby.
Yeah.
Put on the heels. We'll have to cut that.
Yeah, you're a dog. Let's just objectify, you know?
I didn't objectify anything. All I said
Was I want you to
just
spit in my drink
and stomp on my balls, like the dirty little pig boy that I am. Like that's all
Pig
I'm
boy.
asking.
Roll me in med to cool me off. Hit me with an oak cane. Like the little pig I am.
Shoot me in the leg with a gun. Just
Throw slop on me and say sue-wee. Like the little pig I am. I want to befriend a fucking...
I want you to hole punch my ear so you can tag me.
I want to be friends with a spider who has kids and dies. Because I'm a pig. Just fucking...
Call me
Charlotte's
Wilbur.
Web. Yeah.
Oh my
fuck.
god.
And then I watched...
We have to leave that in there. No, there's too much good
there's
banter.
Too much stuff there. I watched Wednesday with Morgan. Most of it. I'd like to watch it again because I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah.
I kind of came in. She had like a half day. I came home from work and she was like on the couch. You know, she looks over. I'm like, huh? You know. And I'm like, what are you doing, baby? And she's like, nothing. She's like 3 episodes into this series already. I'm like, oh, damn. So I was like, well, all right. So I sat down and watched about 3 or 4 episodes with her. 2 or 3 episodes.
I literally came in and watched the last episode with you guys, and I was like, damn, that was pretty good. I wish
good.
I watched all of
That was
it.
pretty good. I should have watched it. And then you left the room. And yeah, so it was pretty good. Jenna Ortega, who plays Wednesday, does a really good job. So Jenna Ortega plays Wednesday Addams, and she actually does a really good job of kind of encapsulating what you think Wednesday Addams would be like, whether it be from like Christina Ricci playing her in the 90s or just in general from like the cartoons and things like that. She really is. She does a good job of being just that just really morbid, macabre little girl who's just like, fascinated with horrendous stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw a TikTok that was apparently about like some of the behind the scenes stuff. Because it's primarily made by, I don't know if he directed every episode or most of them, but Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, a good fit as well.
Yeah.
Like Tim Burton and the Addams Family. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But he, apparently there was a shot that she did where she didn't blink for this take. Mm. And Tim Burton came up to her and basically was like, "You can never blink as Wednesday Addams again." And she was just like, "Okay." And so Wednesday never blinks in the whole show, which is like a weird little detail, but he noticed it as the director watching and was like, "It's brilliant. Wednesday doesn't blink." Because that's something human, humans blink.
She
does not. Right. And so I just thought that
that thing is not human.
And there's on TikTok at least, there's a part that's gone kind of viral, and it's Wednesday dancing at like the school dance. Mm-hmm. And she's got a pretty funny, intricate, silly, but also good like dance number basically. Mm-hmm. That apparently Jenna Ortega at least had a large amount of creative control over.
Just freestyling out there.
Yeah, where I don't know how much of it was like, okay, you've got to hit this move, you got to hit this move. Whatever you do in between is up to you. Or if they're like, just have fun with it, and then they cut together the dance that they liked.
Sure.
I'm sure is what it was.
I think stuff like that is always like the natural and like where it just fits.
Yeah. And it's really good. And so I think, props to Jenna Ortega. Apparently she was in the show You, which I haven't watched. She was.
If it's in the newer stuff, I've seen like
she was in like the second season, I think.
I've only seen the first season.
Yeah, so. And then she was on a Disney show, I suppose, but I don't, it's a newer Disney show, so I don't know. But yeah, this is my first exposure to her, and I thought she did a really good job. So.
Yeah, she did pretty good.
So, yeah. What do you think about it, Chris?
No, I really have only seen the last episode, but.
No, I asked what you've been thinking about. Not what do you think about it.
It looks good though.
Yeah,
the last episode was pretty good.
Wait a minute.
So they were tying knots together. Unfortunately, I don't know where they led because I haven't seen anything else.
Yeah, all them loose ends were tied up, but I don't know.
I've been playing the fuck out of Pokemon. Like I've been grinding on that game.
Yeah,
and it's just like.
Heard the graphics were dog water.
Yeah, I have problems. I have problems with the game, in which I don't think.
Have you had a lot of bugs?
No, thankfully.
That's good.
Thankfully, I haven't had it
because it sounds like there's some people that are having a really bad time with it.
The only bugs I've had is sometimes when my Pokemon go to battle, they'll spawn underneath the earth, or like underneath like where they should be standing.
Right. Yeah.
That's really the big. But that only happens. That's only happened like a handful of times. Mm-hmm. I will say this is probably the most unfinished Pokemon game, which I think threw everybody off because Pokemon just doesn't do that.
Right. Should.
They haven't done it in the past.
Yeah.
Like any Pokemon game, especially with like Sword and Shield, like they opened up such a big horizon to customizing your own character, and then took it into Arceus, and then in this new one they give you the option to customize your hair, your facial features, like to really make it you. But that's it. You can't choose your own clothes anymore. And I was like, maybe that's just a stupid thing, but also like, you brought that in.
Yeah, you set that expectation.
Right, and it was really good. Right, and then, but amp up in certain areas, but then pull back on the main one. It's like, why? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not an addition. It's a, you added something to and subtracted another.
Yeah. And then, the graphics just aren't good. The frame rate's pretty tough. Yeah. Like if I'm from afar and I'm watching somebody walk, it is like I see their legs and then just their legs on the opposite side. Yeah, click, click, click. I mean, in theory, this is stuff that they can patch, right? They can just have a big update where they add, clothes.
I mean, look at Cyberpunk,
right? So I mean, I'm hoping maybe if that's something that they'll do, but I don't. I think they're just probably going to bite the bullet on this, and then whatever next one they have, they'll probably...
Maybe. They don't have to.
That's true.
Because Pokemon sold...
I feel like...
Just a ghoulish amount of copies.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, everybody bought it.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was just such a big letdown. that I feel like not as many people are going to buy the next game, so they might have to really, really dig deep. But then, I'm trying to think of what else. I'm still working on God of War. I figured we'll probably do that mini-sode here soon.
Next week. Better play that shit.
And then...
Yeah, here you go. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have become the fastest-selling game in Nintendo history. Selling a combined 10 million copies in just 3 days.
Yeah.
So
I will say the Pokemon are cool.
So they have no reason to fix it because 10 million people still bought it, right?
Yeah. Womp womp.
That's the hard part. And then that is why I, on principle, tend to not pre-order things.
I'm still going to pre-order the day before. You're not going to change my mind.
I mean, that's fine. If you want to throw your money at a fucking, a scam.
Watch how fast I will. Watch how fucking fast I will.
What's that? My computer's running slow? Yeah, here's my money.
Yep, there you go. No problem.
No problemo.
You're a long-distance king? Yeah, here you go. I got you. You're a hot mill 5 miles away from me? Yeah, I got you.
I'm in.
Like Flynn.
Yeah.
But...
Now, is that all you got? Is that all you've been thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I work in retail. Black Friday just happened.
Yeah.
That was a shit show.
Yeah.
People need to be more nice to retailers. But that'll never happen.
No, that will not.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, to teach is their own, I suppose. But, yeah, trying to... Right now we have extended hours going for work. So
That's
I'm
gross.
just there from, literally when the sun rises until after the sun is set.
Yeah.
And has been set and is night.
Yeah. Yeah, the moon is out.
Yeah, the moon is up in the sky. And so, that's just my life.
Yeah.
Until January.
Yeah. Hey, good for you, buddy.
It's the best.
It's so amazing. I love it. Again, we want to thank you guys so much for your attention and support. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, like it, follow us, subscribe to us.
I'll thumb it.
Subscribe to us, give us a like, a follow, however you have a way of basically saying, yeah, I like these guys and I want to get more of them.
I like these guys and I want to thumb them.
I want to thumb them.
We'd appreciate all the thumbs.
Yes. We've got our Facebook group, right? Our Reddit. I started posting some reels, and I started cross-posting them over to TikTok. So
some Tic Tacs.
We got exactly 3 TikToks up.
Yup.
I really need to just have a week off from my day job, and I'll catch up on the YouTube videos, and I'll make a bunch of reels.
I would like to figure out how to edit TikToks, because I'm on TikTok quite a lot, and I feel like if I sat down and really figure out how to do good edits, just through my camera roll, I want to do shit like that.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I just don't know how to do them. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
That's not Google. That's not Google.
But yeah, a bunch of cool stuff there. If you guys have recommendations on how to do that,
absolutely.
Can't pay you, but if somebody wants to run our TikTok, my God.
They have full access to my camera roll, but be careful.
Yeah. There's a lot of messy poops in there. And then that weird pimple that you showed me.
Yes. I do have that weird pimple.
But,
questioning pimple. We're waiting for the doctor results.
Yeah, it's staff. Chris, if people wanted to get in touch with us to give us feedback, ask us questions, send us their medical anomalies, how would they do that?
Of course, you'd always be able to look at us, on our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we dunched it. But it's the Simply Whelmed podcast. You can always, take a look at our Twitter. Our Twitter handle is whelmed_simply. And as always, if you want to send, any cryptid suggestions for movies, games, comic books, TV shows.
Do you want to call me fucking stupid again?
If you want, call Colin fucking stupid. If you want to thumb, if you want to thumb us, you can definitely.
Who's trying to thumb? You know what I'm saying?
Who's up Walton Lay Jr. right now? But you can definitely let us know at simplywellmailbag@gmail.com.
Yes. So next week, we might talk about Andor. I don't know, because we got to finish that up and talk about it. got to go see The Menu. Yeah. A lot of stuff we got to do. Maybe we just don't do any of that shit. We just do a fucking topic episode. Who knows, man?
We've been falling behind on the movies. Not severely.
Not really.
But there's been a couple movies that we've been saying we're going to go see, and we just haven't. Bullet Train was on there. That's the thing we're starting to run into, I've noticed. Is like, we'll go and see the movies that, one, we're really amped for, and then two, when they come out, we're like, oh, it is good. Let's go see it. Rather than like Bullet Train, where we're like, we had really high hopes for it, and then we heard it was dog water, and we never looked at it again.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to...
Maybe I don't want to spend my hard-earned fucking money on a bad movie.
That's the whole point of this, is to say if it's good or not, despite what the reviews say.
Not good. Next.
You just walk up to the movies.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. We're gonna...
Yeah. You just walk up to the movie poster, you feel it.
Yeah. Just, eyes roll back in my head. Bad. That's a bad movie. Anyway.
Maybe we'll have something better next week. Let's get out of here.
Let's scram. But no, I mean, again, if I have free time to do that, maybe. But, my time is valuable. My money more so.
That's right.
I ain't spending my time and money on bad shit. All right? You won't fucking make me.
You can't. You can't.
I'm getting so mad. I'm gassy. So, that's the end of the show, Chris. Tell everybody bye.
Bye.
No, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to do.
What you mean?
I don't want to watch bad movies.
Well, double-edged sword. It comes with the job.